Hello everybody, welcome back to the AdvancedVape channel. Real quick before we get started, if you haven't had a chance to enter the coil giveaway contest to win a pair of coils that are handmade by me, that contest is still going on right now, so head over to that video and leave a comment on there if you're a subscriber to enter into that. So today we're going to be looking at the AZEROTH RTA from COILART, not the RDTA. It's a same name but totally different tank. And I saw really a lot of super positive reviews from other YouTube reviewers about this tank. And one of the biggest YouTube reviewers called this the best tank of 2017. So that's a really bold statement, especially considering the year isn't really even halfway over. So that kind of piqued my interest and made me really want to do a review for this tank. Have all these different people saying that it's a great tank, and have somebody saying it's the best tank. Yeah, I know that I personally have a hard time saying anything is the best, because there is no tank that can be everything to everybody. Anyway, let's go on and take it off of here and look at it. It's a pretty simple design on the outside. It looks clean, well machined and everything. It is a 24 millimeter, and the kind of unique thing about this tank is it has replaceable decks, and it comes with a triple coil deck. So 3 coils kind of in a postless design. Everything else about it pretty ordinary. Top fill. And no juice flow control. But let's go on and take it apart and take a look at the deck. So as you can see, it's kind of 3 leaves kind of radiating out in the design. And these holes here are where you would put your wick, and there's bottom air in there. I'll wait for it to focus. Yeah, so there's bottom air under each coil. And so half of these are going to be positive and half are negative, and they're kind of isolated by a insulator in there. So a pretty interesting design. It looks good. And the build that I have on here is a small staple coil build. So really small unframed staples in there, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't want to spend the time to make entirely new coils for this video. This build, I've tried quite a few different builds on here, and I wanted to just leave this build as it is without putting new coils on there. So let's go on and go to wicking, which is most certainly the important thing about this tank. Okay, so as you can see, we have 3 wick channels here, so they're going to have to be shared among 2 coils there. So I'm going to be using Kindle Gold on this, and I'm going to try and keep the wick pretty light in there. These wick channels are not big at all. So as I'm pulling it through, I'm kind of putting pressure on this finger to thin it out as it's going in, to make sure that it's the right kind of consistency and density. Okay, and I'm going to cut it right about there along those threads. And I'm going to cut both sides at the same time, because essentially you want them to become one piece of cotton. So I'm going to start holding them together and cutting them together. And now I'm most definitely going to brush it out quite a bit. You want the cotton to be really loose. Sorry that some of that was kind of moving towards being off camera. But as you can see here, I have the holes all the way packed in so it doesn't leak, but these channels are still empty, so it should wick plenty fast. And we'll go ahead and add juice. And now that the cotton is totally wet, I'm going to check it one more time. So it's really not packed in here at all. It's loose and fluffy. I can easily slide the tweezers down in there. It's not packed in at all. And then you just screw the top on. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out, get it filled up, and get it cleaned up, and we'll give it a try. Okay, so I've got it filled up, got the airflow all the way open, and have it set at 120 watts. Gonna go up to 150. So at 150 watts, I should be getting, with 3 staple coils in there, I should be getting a dense, fairly hot, lot of flavor sort of thing going on there. But to be honest, I'm not getting that at all. You guys know on this channel, I try and find the positive in tanks. I try and look at the best parts of the tank, and I'm going to be honest and say if there's something about it that I don't like, but I'm not going to be overly harsh. But I find myself with this tank wanting to be overly harsh with it. So if I rant a little bit, I apologize, and I know that I might upset a few people, but that's kind of just where I am with this tank. It's wicking plenty fast. There's plenty of juice. You can see the juice flow going down. It's not leaking, but plenty of juice is you know, getting my way. I can feel the juice hitting my tongue, but the flavor it's just not there. It's really not. So even closing the airflow down to half, it makes it a little bit better, but it's just, I don't know, maybe it could be that I'm just coming off of reviewing a tank with very restricted airflow that had really excellent flavor, and I'm kind of subconsciously comparing it to that. But I feel like the way I feel about this tank versus someone saying that it's the best tank of 2017, there's one of 3 things going on here. One, I'm doing something wrong, or I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't think that's the case. I've tried a lot of different builds on here and a lot of different styles of wicking, including doing it exactly how he did in his video. 2, he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he doesn't know what good flavor is, and I find that really hard to believe considering the amount of stuff that he tries. 3, there's another reason why he's saying that it's the best tank out there, and I'll leave it at that, and I kind of feel like that's what's going on there. To me, it's like if I say, guys, I'm now listing the Ford Pinto as the best car of the century. By the way, this channel is now sponsored by Ford. That's how I feel. It will get you from point A to point B. Okay, yeah, it's not terrible, but it's not good either. It's just kind of there for me. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you guys. I really just don't like this tank. I don't like the flavor off of it. I do really like the design of the build deck. I think that it's clever, and I'm glad that companies are innovating and doing stuff like that. But it comes down to the airflow for me. Something about the airflow design I just have a problem with. I don't like it. And the same goes to the velocity style deck that it comes with. This is it with the build that I put on here. This is another situation where I've done quite a few different builds on here, quite a few different wick styles, and the way that this wicks is basically the same as the way velocity style decks wicked last year. There's 4 separate wick channels, and it's not going to keep up. Those wick channels are too small. If you want to put a little tiny build in there, I'm sure it will work fine. But more important than that is the airflow, and I feel like that's probably down to the way that this airflow is designed. It's wide open. There's no kind of channeling it. If you compare this to something maybe like the VCST, where it has a bottom airflow and it leads directly into Kennedy-style tubes that kind of focuses all that air on one point, rather than just being this wide open chamber where the air kind of just comes up in these holes. It feels turbulent, but not in a good way. And it's something sort of similar in this one. So let me take it apart and we'll look at the bottom of the triple deck. Okay, so I just want to point out, sorry I have a little bit of juice on my hands, but I just took it out of the tank. I just wanted to point out that this is wicking plenty fast. If you can see the cotton, it's pretty well saturated, and that's after I kind of touched it with my hands to get this unscrewed. Most times when people don't have good flavor, it's down to wicking speed. But that is not the issue here. Even though these are staple coils using a ton of juice, it's wicking plenty fast enough, and it's still just not doing well for me. And I think that's probably because the airflow is essentially the same on this one. It's just a big open cavity dumping air into these areas here. This is definitely more channeled than the velocity deck, but not by a lot. I think this airflow could have been designed better to perform better. It's not for me. It's really not. I feel like this is probably the harshest review that I've given on the channel, and I really don't, I'm not just being intentionally harsh, I'm just being honest with you guys. It's definitely not the worst tank that I've ever used, for sure. But it's not great, and it's not the best tank of 2017. I think it's absolutely crazy to say that. I've personally used way better tanks, even recently, stuff that I've reviewed, and even the AZEROTH RTA just beats this thing hands down. So that's pretty much it. I gotta just be honest and say that I don't recommend this tank. So I'm sorry if that upset some people, but it is what it is. So that'll bring us to the end of this video about the AZEROTH RTA. If you like this video on our channel, give us a like and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them below in the comments or send me an email. Thanks.